signal dropped. The signal's dropped.
welcome to our prize giving. Please will you bear with us for a few minutes? We will start in a moment. Before we begin today's proceedings, please can I ask all parents to switch off their cell phones or to put them on silent. A very warm good afternoon to our guest of honour, Mr. Patrick Harty, our Lady Principal, Ms. Sue Tasker, our Headmistress, Mrs. Karen Gardner, Grade 7 parents and girls. Also to all of those watching on Zoom, a very, very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining us. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to our Grade 6 and 7 prize giving for 2020. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Kerry Eldham, Estates, and Mr. Alistair Cuff for setting up this venue and sound system. Thank you too to the kitchen staff who prepared a delicious lunch for our special girls. We are most grateful to you all. Thank you. To Mrs. Gardner and the wonderful teachers who have ensured a most successful and relatively normal school year, despite the global disarray. Thank you and well done. We'll be following the program, the covers of which were drawn by some of our wonderfully artistic grade 7 girls.
Today's reading is taken from Psalm 92 from the Passion Translation. It's so enjoyable to come before you with uncontainable praises spilling from our hearts. How we love to sing our praises over and over to you, to the matchless God, high and exalted over all. At each and every sunrise, we will be thanking you for your kindness and your love. As the sun sets and all through the night, we will keep proclaiming you are so faithful. Melodies of praise will fill the air as every musical instrument, joined with every heart, overflows with worship. No wonder I'm so glad, I can't keep it in. Lord, I'm shouting with glee over all you've done, for all you've done for me. What mighty miracles and your power at work, just to name a few. Depths of purpose and layers of meaning saturate everything you do. Here ends our reading.
Let us pray. Dear Lord Jesus, thank you for this year. It is taught to be patient, to prioritize, and to be resilient. The gift of laughter, friendship, and family has given us strength. We have many blessings for which we are very grateful. Thank you for the caring people here at the Wickham Collegiate and for all the opportunities we enjoy each day to learn and grow. Lord, thank you for the grade 7s, for all the fun, bonds, and friendships that we have made here. And as we go into high school, may it be a time of blessings and success, but may we always remember our foundations at the junior school. As we go out into the holiday, please protect and guide each of us. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
You do work wonders in 2 to 3 short weeks. So skilled. Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Tasker, Mr. Harty, parents, staff, and girls. When I said this morning in the staff room I was going to do my 9-page report, Mrs. Boshoff looked absolutely horrified. Don't worry. It's 2 pages. It's not a year report. It's a short address. It's wonderful to be able to sit outside and gather like this for prize giving. Thank you, Mrs. Teams, for all your organising today. It's absolutely wonderful, and I know it takes a huge amount of energy and time. We have much to be thankful for, and this gathering is a celebration and a reminder of the blessings we have received this year. And that was why I chose that particular reading. We can focus on all the negatives, but actually there are more positives. There's more to celebrate and more to be happy about. Our theme this year was roots, and never before have we had to draw so much on our roots. We were able to get through 2020 because our roots were strong, they were nourished, and they anchored us. Roots are often out of sight, and we see what is above root. It is the same with people. We don't see the values, thoughts, perceptions. We don't see what's in your heart. However, we do see how you work out your values, your thoughts, and your beliefs. Without nourishment, a plant will wither and die. A plant needs good soil. TWC girls, you have your parents, guardians,
teachers who provide a nourishing soil in which to grow. What sort of soil are you choosing to grow in? And it is a choice. I know you didn't choose your family, where your growth began, but you have a choice of where you would like to transplant yourself. Choose your field carefully. Roots anchor the plant. They keep it upright and stable. How are you anchored? Where are your roots getting their nourishment from? Are you easily swayed? Deep roots are important. You don't want to be blown over at the first puff of wind. Your roots should be grounded in the TWC values: honesty, integrity, respect for self, respect for others. If we are strongly grounded, we will grow strong and tall and be able to produce fruit that not only nourishes ourselves, but also nourishes others. And that's important, nourishing yourself and nourishing others. What are those fruits? Love, joy, peace, kindness, friendship. How were we nourished under lockdown and then on our return to school? We fed each other. There was support, kindness, humour, and fun. And I'm very grateful to all our teachers who ensured that school was a safe and protected garden where our girls could continue to grow and thrive. We say farewell to Mrs. Becker at the end of this week. Mrs. Becker has only been with us for 2 years, but she has brought exciting changes to Afrikaans. And we have also seen innovative and wonderful art creations on display. I'll never look at a denim bag in the same way again. We are going to miss her vibrancy, quirkiness, sense of humour, and youth. And we wish you all the best in Ireland. Mrs. Braithwaite also retires at the end of this year after 26 years of teaching at TWC. And she taught many of you girls sitting over here today. She showed you love and compassion and reminded you to show these qualities to others. She also taught many of you how to cut. Some of you still haven't got it though. How to cut, colour and stick. Your jollyphonic sounds, she taught you those, the letters and how to write. And I know she would appreciate a card or two from grade 7s who are moving on. The grade 6 and 7 girls were fortunate to go on their overnight outings this year and the beach and berg hikes. The grade 7s could have their farewell dinner. There were fun cultural days. There were some events that COVID just could not stop. This year has certainly not been a disastrous one for our grade 6 and 7 girls. With support, you chose to keep going and to do your best. Well done. Thank you to you girls for making it a good year. Thank you very much to the parents who supported the girls and the staff. Education is a partnership between school and home, and we certainly can't do it without you. So, keep in mind this holiday the importance of remaining rooted, grounded, nourished, and healthy. Thank you.
It gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Harty. Mr. Harty has been teaching at TWC for the past 17 years and will be retiring next week. His passions have been music, history, English and drama, and he has shared this with the high school girls who, from what we have heard, absolutely loved his lesson. As the grade 8 class of 2021 and 2022 seated here today, we are sad that we won't get the opportunity to learn from you. However, we are pleased that we get a taste today of your wisdom and storytelling. Thank you for agreeing to address us, and we wish you a long and happy retirement. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Gardner, Mrs. Pease, Ms. Tasker, parents, all my colleagues at TWC, grade 6s, and especially grade 7s. Where are you? Down, grade 7. Grade 7, you are at the start of something big. You're at the end of something big, and you're at the start of something big. It's a milestone in your lives. Are you excited? Are you nervous? Yes. Good, because you should be. You should be nervous. Just not too much. Just a little bit. If you're not nervous, it kind of sends the message that you think you know it all. And that's never a good thing. So just a little bit of nervousness is going to be wonderful for you and help you settle in to whichever school you are going to next year. So, let's think about what you've learned so far. How much do you think you know? You can answer the question, my loves. How much do you think you know? Not a lot. If you say not a lot, you're almost getting there. The fact is, you know hardly anything. Do you know that? You know virtually nothing. Of all the stuff that there is to know in this world, you know so little that it might as well be nothing. But before you panic, listen, you do know enough. You've been prepared well enough by this junior school to cope with anything that grade 8 is going to throw at you. So be confident about that. You've been fortunate. You know enough to cope with grade 8. So, let's look at this statement about knowing stuff. Listen to this. The more you know, the less you know. Does that make sense? It can make sense if we think about it and explain it a little. What do we call statements that at first hearing sound nonsensical? They sound as if they are nonsense. They just don't make sense. Do you know what we call them? Yes.
Nonsensical statements.
Well, it certainly is a nonsensical statement, but there is a technical term for it. Here's another example. Listen. If we want to look at the value of the South African rand against the United States dollar, why are you laughing? It's no laughing matter. If we want to look at the value of the rand against the dollar, you may hear an economist on the radio saying, the value of the rand has risen from 15.50 to the dollar to 15.40 to the dollar. And you could say, that's not a rise. 15.50 to 15.40 is not a rise, but it is. What do you call statements like that? Nobody? They're called paradoxes. Will you remember that? Oh. What?
What is it?
Paradoxes. P-A-R-A-D-O-X. A paradox. Yes. Now, let's explain this. The more you know, the less you know paradox. So you're going to think of a ladder. Yes, here it is. Can you see it? There's where it starts, and it stretches up, and it goes up there. It goes so far you cannot see the end of it. That is because it doesn't end. It hasn't got an end. And the ladder is a metaphor. Do you know what that is? Good. It's a metaphor for your process of learning. As you learn, you climb up the rungs of the ladder. And do you know that you've been climbing up the ladder more or less since the day you were born? You've been learning. Now, you climb up the ladder. Let's say you're about here when you're in grade 7. You can certainly see more around you than you could when you were down there. Do you agree? So the more you learned, what did you see when you looked around? There was still more to learn. More and more and more. And the more you learn and the higher you climb, what do you see? More and more. Eventually you can see over the roof of the LHC there, and there's a whole city galaxy in the valley below that you had no idea about. How exciting! The more you learn, at least the more you know, the less you know, because you just see how much there is to know. Do you know how exciting this is? Isn't it wonderful that you are on a journey of learning? Okay, some of you look distinctly unexcited at the prospect, but you can be as excited about it as you decide you're going to be. It can be a very exciting thing. Now, what are you going to do with it all, though? What are you going to do with all this stuff that is going to be put into your... No, I'm going to rephrase that. Not that's going to be put into your head, that you will have decided to put into your head. What are you going to do with it? Well, let's look at two things. There are many things we could look at, but let's look at two. One of those two is, let's hope that from all that stuff that goes into your head, you gain something called wisdom. Mrs. Gardner mentioned it. Now, wisdom's a bit of a slippery thing to grasp sometimes, but let's look at it in terms of the way that you are going to relate to other people from next year. So let's start with your experience in the classroom in the junior school up there. How many of you were there in a class? Roughly? 20, 25? All right, shall we say 25? Is that all right? Okay, so there's 25 of you. How many teachers? One! What a daunting task! There's one of her, and 25 of you. She has to learn fast, very fast, how to manage you. So that something useful and fruitful comes out of that classroom experience. Your teacher really has to learn to manage you. She can only do that if she's gained wisdom. Now, when you get to high school, more and more, are you listening to me carefully? You are going to have to learn to manage your teachers. That may sound like an odd idea to you, and some of you have a little giggle about it, but let me explain to you, and you can see how vitally important it's going to be. Sure, your teachers are still going to have to learn to manage you, but you are going to be responsible for managing your teacher. And this is why. Up in the high school, or to whichever school you're going to next year, I would imagine would be the same, you are going to have a separate teacher for every subject. And you are going to go from classroom to classroom whenever you change subjects. Now, you're not necessarily going to know the teachers very well next year in grade 8, but come grade 9, you will have a pretty good idea of the teachers in the high school. And you may go into your first English lesson in grade 9 and think, oh, I wish I was really not in this person's lesson or this person's class. I wish I wasn't that teacher's class. Well, tough, you've got to suck it up. Because that is what life is going to be like for you, my loves. You are not going to land up always with people you want to be with. And how you decide to deal with them is going to be very important. So you are going to manage your teacher. And you are going to say, I am going to get everything I need for my success from this person standing in front of me, whether you like her or not, whether you think you don't like her or not. It's a bonus if you like people. It's a bonus. So you're going to manage them and get what you need. I'm going to say something to you which may sound wrong to start with, but a lot of high school life in the classroom means you have to be selfish. Now, being selfish generally is not a good thing. But this is what I mean by being selfish. You are saying, I'm in this room, I need to get what I need from the person in front of me. You do not need to worry or to fret about how anybody else in the class does. When a piece of work comes back that has been marked, You must not worry or fret about what anybody else has got. It may be interesting to know what your friend has got, but it's not a concern of yours in any way. Why? Well, yes, you are not in competition with them. You are not in competition with them. With whom are you in competition? Yourself. Thank you. That's what we mean by being selfish. All right? You just concentrate on yourself. You are in competition with yourself. When you hand in a piece of work to a teacher, for whom have you done the work? Yourself. I promise you, you're not doing it for the teacher. The teacher's been in grade 8. She's done it. She's not interested. The teacher will look at your work and give it back to you, telling you how well she thinks you've done. But you have not done it for her. You've done it for yourself. And if you're sloppy or careless or fail to do it at all, there is only one person who suffers. And that is yourself. Will you remember that? You're not in competition with other people. You don't have to worry about how other people are doing. Concentrate on yourself. You're in competition with yourself to get yourself to be a bigger and better person. There's plenty of time for competition out of the classroom. Where? There, see, in the water. On the field there, on the in that, underneath that big green roof over there. Good, healthy competition. That's where you need to be competitive against other people, and that's a healthy thing. Good. So, that's gaining wisdom. How you're going to deal with yourself and how you're going to deal with other people. What else are you going to do with all the stuff that's in your head? Well, hopefully, you are going to learn to be able to think with it. A lot of the stuff in your head is going to be intrinsically interesting, and that's wonderful. It's lovely to know. But what you need to be able to do is, when you find yourself in a situation, say, what am I going to do now? And you use all that stuff that's in your head to solve the problems. Do you want to solve a few problems right now? The answer to that question is yes. And so here comes the first one. Are you concentrating carefully? A man has 3 camels. No, I got it wrong. He has 3 daughters. I'm not implying anything by that mistake. A man has 3 daughters. He has 19 camels. And he decides he's going to give his camels to his daughters. He wants to give the oldest daughter half of his camels. Can you see there's a problem already? Because we understand he wants to give live camels to his daughters. So he wants to give half to the oldest daughter, a quarter to the middle daughter, and a fifth to the youngest daughter. But now he's got a problem right from the start. How is he going to give the oldest one half? So he sits and thinks for a long time. And then he has a brainwave. And he goes to his neighbor who has camels and he says, lend me 1 camel just for 1 hour. And his neighbor says, fine, I'll lend it to you. So he brings the camel home. Now how many camels does he have? 20. He gives half to one daughter. How many is that? 10. He gives a quarter to another daughter. How many? 5. He gives a fifth to another daughter. How many? 4. Add 10, 5 and 4. 19. Brilliant. Then he returns the camel he's just borrowed. Problem solved. Yes? Okay, my love, you can think about that. You've all been doing arithmetic and mathematics for at least 7 years. There's something about that I'm not sure. Listen, if you know the answer to this, you just keep quiet, see? No shrieking out. We don't need to know that you think you're clever. There's a man standing somewhere on this planet And he has a rifle with him, a gun. Now listen carefully. He walks 10 paces south. He walks 10 paces east. And he walks 10 paces north. And he finds himself at exactly the same spot he started from. He takes up his gun and shoots a bear. What color is the bear? Miss Peens. Miss Peens hazarded an answer, and I'm sorry to say she is wrong. Now, my love, you can go away and think about that one. There is, in fact, an answer to it. I'll give you a little clue. Listen carefully. He walks 10 paces south. He walks 10 paces east. He walks 10 paces north. And he finds himself where he started. And he shoots the bear. The bear is white. Wonderful. You can go and think about it afterwards. You can ask your friend. Here's one more quick one for you. Listen. Are you listening? Julia's mother has 4 children. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And Julia, yes. So everybody who said John did not think. Bad move. And if you said John, you can go away and think why you shouldn't have said John. So, grade 7s. Let's recap quickly. You're going to be excited, yes? Good. Because it is exciting. You're going to be a little bit nervous, right? Because that keeps you on your toes while you work out how new systems work. You're going to learn how to manage your teachers to get the best out of them that you can. And then, the last thing I want to say to you is, we've mentioned the pool, the Astro, the LHC, and I want to say to you, the pool, the Astro, the fields, the squash courts, the tennis courts, the LHC, the music school up there, there are very, very few children in South Africa who have access to those things. Very few. You will understand as you grow older how privileged you are to have them. So please make use of them. Do not leave this school with a grade 12 testimonial that is empty. A testimonial that is empty is a tragic waste of time and a tragic waste of money. Please make use of these facilities. There are the vast majority of children in South Africa do not have access to these things. Will you remember? Yes? Good. So, I'm going to wish you all the best for the next 5 years. Enjoy it. Be positive. Do you know what Abraham Lincoln said about enjoying yourself and being happy? Do you know what he said? He said, most people are about as happy as they decide they're going to be. Can I say it again? Most people are about as happy as they decide they are going to be. Enjoy the next 5 years. They're going to be gone in a flash. And I wish you all success. I was going to say, I'm sorry I'm not going to see you next year, but I'm not sure that that's totally true. It's nothing personal about you. Okay, but I'm going to enjoy my retirement. But please, have a wonderful time at high school, and then in 5 years' time, which will go like a flash, you'll be ready to start the next stage of your journeys. Thank you very much. I have a bee on my shoulder. It's an eventful day.
we're on to the prize giving. Mr. Harty, thank you for joining us. This must have been. Thank you. Right. Can you all hear me? Or you're all okay on Zoom? Right. An English and Mathematics Award, merit certificates, and certificates, for girls achieving an aggregate of 80% and above, are presented in each of the classes from grade 6 and 7. Girls in grade 7 are also the recipients of further subject and special awards. We'll be starting with the grade 6s. In Mrs. Becker's class, for an outstanding achievement in English, Liliana Reitz. For an outstanding achievement in mathematics, Vida Boshoff. For strength of character and integrity, Retabile Manoko. And for a positive and tenacious approach to all work, Shannon Holdsworth. In Mrs. Chaplin's class, for an outstanding achievement in English, Dana Robinson. Isti Suram and Amana Yaqub tied for outstanding achievement in mathematics. Ayabonga Shezi receives a certificate for perseverance. And she's not well today. And then for consistent hard work and perseverance, Dimple Matzo. There are a number of girls in grade 6 who have managed to achieve an aggregate of 80% or above. This just goes to show that this virus couldn't get us down. Well done, girls. I'll call you up in groups of 5. Vida Boshoff, Mishlali Hadebe, Pele Sapakis, Brinley Peens, Hindi Rajvali. Liliana Reitz, Dana Robinson, Isti Suran, Sayan Govender, Amana Yaqub. Ava Beaumont, Anya Stain, Pari Sharma Govender, Nicola Karshagen, and Retabile Manoko. We now move on to the grade 7 academic awards for most outstanding achievement in English in Mrs. Boshoff's class, Tessa Lee. Tatiana Nicholson receives Outstanding Achievement in Mathematics. For a positive attitude and consistent hard work, award to Harrison. And for a positive attitude and diligent approach to all subjects, Marcia Nurgat. In my class, for outstanding achievement in English and outstanding achievement in mathematics, Ruth Hatfield. For all-round achievement, both personally and academically, Grace McCaskill. And for a diligent approach to all subjects, Tamika Haripasa. We now move on to the certificates for an 80% aggregate or above. I'll call you girls up in groups of 3. Jessica Henderson, Isabel Heman, Tessa Lee. Tatiana Nicholson, Robin Chapman, Ruth Hatfield. Kaya Medalia, Jawaria Sadiq, Annabelle Stewart. Every term, the girls from grade 4 to 7 write a general knowledge quiz. Most of them take this rather lightheartedly, only because they know their general knowledge is appalling. So, parents, please can you try and help them to up their game with general knowledge. However, we do have 2 outstanding girls, and in grade 6, Liliana Reitz. And in grade 7, Ruth Hatfield. We now move on to the subject awards. For outstanding achievement in Afrikaans, Simone Du Plessis. Outstanding achievement in isiZulu, Yandisa Madola. Outstanding achievement in history, Jawaria Sadiq. Outstanding achievement in general science, Ruth Hatfield. Outstanding achievement in geography, Jessica Henderson. Outstanding Achievement in Drama, Annabelle Stewart. And for Outstanding Achievement in Art, Katerina Klein. When the girls go to Twin Streams, which we were absolutely delighted to be able to do, we asked the facilitators there to please keep an eye on all the girls and to please feed back to us at the end of it the names of girls who really stood out as being environmentally aware and just loving everything that was on offer at Twin Streams. This then gets combined with the general science and just general sort of environmental awareness. And this year, we couldn't decide between two girls. So will Topeka Koenig and Robin Chapman please come and receive their place. Despite the unusual year, which limited our opportunities for music and sport, we do have a few trophies and certificates to celebrate the achievements of our girls in music and sport. The Gina Christodoulou Trophy for the most enthusiastic, though quiet, enthusiasm comes in many forms. Grade 7 choir member, Elle Glasspool. The next trophy is the Thelma Costin Floating Trophy for Outstanding Musicianship. This young lady is in the band, the choir, and has achieved wonderful results in all spheres. Ruth Hatfield. The Sarah Langan Trophy for Excellent Achievement in Music. This is awarded to the girl who has achieved the highest mark in music exams this year. This young lady plays the saxophone and received a distinction for her grade 4 exam. Isabel Hemmer. There are two girls who have qualified for provincial sporting teams. Charlize Duplessis for the equestrian KZN team and Alexandra Ace for the KZN squash team. We move on to some other trophies. The Ryder Trophy for the most improved isiZulu student, Kanya Nchemla. The Jill Ford Trophy for perseverance is awarded to a girl who has faced challenges which through grit and determination she has overcome, remaining positive and determined to do her very best always. Danielle Baxter. The Tessa Trophy for creativity goes to a young girl who through art, design and technology, as well as drama, has shown creative talent and excelled in all areas. Annabelle Stewart. The Wickham Collegiate Trophy for Innovation is awarded to a girl who displays out-of-the-box thinking, enjoys doing things differently, and creates environments in which others are given the tools and resources to challenge the status quo, push boundaries, and achieve growth. Ella Hopeful. The A&B Hodges Memorial Trophy for courtesy and service to the school goes to a young lady who, for all her time at TWC, has shown impeccable manners, a desire to help in any way possible, and who has taken every opportunity to represent the school to the best of her ability. Ruth Hatfield. This next award is voted for by the grade 7 girls. They vote for a peer who they believe to be kind, compassionate, and understanding to everyone, every day. The Dickinson Trophy for kindness and compassion goes to Tiana Bula. Right, for this next award, house captains, you need to be ready. So that can be swimming captains and all the house captains that were nominated this year. So the trophy for the champion house, represented by a girls' collegiate Old Girls Guild. Believe it or not, girls, but your academics have points attached to them. And at the end of the year, it's my privilege and joy to tally up all these points and to see which house has turned out to score the most points academically. And this year, it's O'Brien. Our final trophy for today is the Headmistress Award for 2020 for a girl who has displayed courage, truthfulness, and tolerance towards others. A very, very well-deserved award for this young lady, Kanya Mshemla. And that brings us to an end of our prize giving. Well done to all of you girls. Please remember that getting a trophy or a certificate does not define you. So all your achievements that you've made this year, whether they were in the classroom or not, be grateful and acknowledge them. You've all done so, so well.
Thank you, Mr. Hartley, for sharing with us today your wisdom and lovely story. I'll definitely miss your story since you're retiring at the end of this year. Definitely won't forget that you should, that nerves are good, and that you should, because you will feel that you're too important and that it isn't good. The Raiders of 2021 will definitely miss you and your stories since you're retiring. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harty. Please accept this gift from the Genius School. We hope you have an amazing retirement.
Right, with the trophy winners and Tipika and Robin, also please remain behind after this prize giving so we can take some photographs. A big thank you to everybody for their support today and throughout this unpredictable year. We wish you and your families a restful holiday with lots of family time. Merry Christmas, and may 2021 be a happy, calm year for you all. Please stand as we sing the school song.